Hi there, this is John Frenay, and welcome to an Encore presentation of our Legacy Business Spotlight. These are best done in person, and with the current state of emergency restrictions, that's just not possible. So we will be re-releasing our past episodes every Saturday at noon until this pandemic is in our collective rearview mirror. Until then, enjoy this Encore presentation of our Legacy Business Spotlight.
Some businesses succeed, some don't. Then there are those that seem to have been around forever. The true entrepreneurial success story. How did they do it? What was their vision? What makes a success? In this special episode for Eye on Annapolis, we speak with the true success stories, those business owners that have been around for decades. Learn from their successes and failures. Now, here's host John Frenay.
I've never been up here on the second floor and maybe it's the third floor of KB True Value. How are you?
I'm good, thank you.
We're here with Jared Littmann, who is the owner of K&B True Value, which is on the corner of, it's the crazy corner. It's on the corner of Forest, Bay Ridge, and Hillsmere, I believe.
There are a few names attached.
Depends on which way you're coming from.
We usually just say 912 Forest Drive next to the Shell station across from Hillsmere and Quiet Waters Park.
Absolutely. It's the big sort of gray concrete block complex.
Mm-hmm.
And
it's called the Greystone.
That would make sense.
Mm-hmm.
And it's K&B True Value has been a staple of this community for a long time. And, you know, you're one of my favorite stores because I don't have to drive out past the mall to that other orange place that, you know, the mega store.
Well, hopefully we bring you in besides convenience. Hopefully we have a few other good things going for us, too.
Well, you do. I mean, honestly, the only reason that I go out to that store would be lumber. That's not something that you're looking to do, I'm sure.
No, you're right.
Where did K&B start from? How long have you guys been here? I know I'm seeing that in 2019 you're celebrating your 45th.
We are.
So that's almost older than me.
So let me give you a little history. So in 1974, my in-laws, Bobby and Ken Neifeld, started the business across the street. And at that time, it was known as Hardware House, the Hardware House. And they were about where Smokehouse is. And
they were in that shopping center?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. And it was a rented space for him. And in the mid-'80s, he was looking for a place to move, and he saw this. At that time, it was dirt, and it was a hill. Bought the property, built the building. It was an interesting architectural feat because it was a hill, and he finally found an architect who had apparently also taught architecture at University of Maryland, and he said it was a project that he's been using for his students for ages. And he said the perfect solution is to put the building in the middle and cut out the half of the dirt and flip it over to the other side to create a level surface in the middle, and that's what worked out, and that's what he ended up doing. So he moved the Hardware House over here in about 1985, 1986 or so, and then started filling in the other spaces with other tenants. And 1993 or so, no, actually it was later than that. It was in the 2000s that he changed the name to K&B True Value, so he could incorporate the True Value name in the name of the hardware store instead of just the Hardware House. I came aboard in 2004, and I won't give you the long history unless you ask for how that came about. And I bought the business along with my wife from my in-laws in 2007.
Okay. So the complex here is actually two buildings, I believe, with a bunch of steps going in. Was one building built after the other, do you know, or...?
More or less built the same time. I think they got the hardware store in here first, finished the rest of the build-out after that. So it was in the same roughly time period, but technically, yes, it was first.
That's funny. Two of my favorite places, you and Rocco's Pizza, were both over at the where the Smokehouse was in that shopping center, right?
Yeah, I think Ken and the Rocco's owner were buddies, and they knew each other from back in those days.
I wasn't aware that people were saying, "Oh yeah, Rocco's was over there." No, because I moved down here and they were already over at the over next to the Giant. Right. So you took this over from your father-in-law.
Well, I don't use took over. I bought. I mean, I had a long loan interest with interest, so I don't think of it as taking it over. But
the guy built the business as it was. He's not a dumb businessman.
No, not at all. He's a very smart man. Absolutely.
So
and a great mentor too.
Yeah. Well, I mean, okay. Now your background you are a hands-on owner. Mm-hmm. You are here, I would say, 90% of the time, if not more. Probably a little bit more now that you're not an alderman for the city of Annapolis. But
well, I'm here a lot. I'm not on the sales floor as much as I like to be, which It's a shame. I know being on the sales floor, customers like to see me. I like to see the customers. I like to work with the employees and make sure I see what's going on. So I do that as much as possible, but it's less than ideal probably. Over the years, I've accumulated various jobs as well. So although I'm in the office a lot, I'm juggling 3 or 4 jobs most days.
Can you do every job here?
Yeah, I mean, this is sort of my base. I also work from home sometimes too, and so a lot of my work.
Well, no, I meant like if you personally, can you do every job here in the store?
Oh, can I do every job
unload
here?
the trucks and fill the propane? And
I could do most jobs here. My bookkeeper knows things that I don't know. My inventory manager knows things that I don't do. But the customer-facing things, I can do everything. That from a customer-facing standpoint, I can load propane, I can load bags, I can cashier, I can be a salesperson, I can be a manager.
Well,
I can sweep up, clean the toilets.
And done it,
and done it,
we'll do it again.
Yes, and yes.
The joys of owning your own business.
Yep.
One of the things that I do like here is the customer service. And I think that customer service in any business, and certainly it speaks to 45 years, and any of the number of businesses that I've spoken to in this series, it does come down to customer service and really making the customer happy. How have you fostered that? I mean, you've got it. I mean, everybody is very friendly here. I'm walking back with 2 microphones, a cable, and a recorder, and they're like, "Can I help you find anything?" I'm like, "Well, yeah, Jared Littmann."
Well, I appreciate A, the compliment. B, again, I think my in-laws were very smart business people and ran a good store. And so my challenge was essentially in buying it and taking over the operation was not messing it up and trying to keep the model that was working and then add on the differences and changes that I wanted to see without messing up what was going well. And so I've tried to do that. Certainly the things that I'm more slanted on versus my in-laws before is I try to make sure we have a very good selection of environmentally friendly products that our salespeople are trained on how to sell those things, what the benefits are. I keep those items priced very competitively, frankly at lower margins than their alternatives to try to encourage those purchases. I've added solar panels to try to offset our energy usage. And then I've tried to just stay current. Every year it could be up to 20% of our inventory changes from things that are just no longer popular to things that are sort of new, like the home automation. And so just trying to stay current on those things is really important.
Certainly. Well, it's yeah, I agree. I mean, when your father-in-law started the business, there was this thing called the internet probably wasn't around. And
no,
as far as
no.
He's probably had a notepad to order new stock and.
Yeah, and we have different approaches. I mean, he has a excellent memory and with numbers, and I'm more of someone who likes spreadsheets and organization and try to keep organized that way. But I'd say the one thing that motivates us to do better every day is, frankly, not taking any of it for granted. I don't take my employees for granted. I don't take the customers for granted. There's a certain amount of fear every single day owning a business that the next day when you show up that other people aren't going to. Whether it's employees and customers, as an employee, you're thinking that the guy at the top is really in charge, and you finally get to the top and you realize, nope, all my customers and my employees are really the ones in charge because they're the ones who pay our paychecks. And I remind our staff that if they're not being friendly or something to a customer, so they're the ones who pay your paychecks.
On the spot, and some big companies have differed on this. Mm-hmm. Who's number one in your businesses? Your employees or your customers?
Who's number one?
Yeah.
I don't know that there is a number one. If you're asking who's right, in a dispute, honestly, I try not to be in a situation where I have to say no to a customer. If I try to say if we don't have exactly what they want, I'll come up with an alternative, another solution. The customers are important in the sense that they're not here, none of us get paid. And if we don't get paid, we can't pay our bills.
Right.
The employees are important because without them, I certainly can't run the shop by myself.
And they're not, the customers are not coming back.
Right, exactly. I need my employees to be motivated and happy employees. We try to treat them fairly and make sure try to have an environment where I expect employees to work hard but be fair and be nice.
It's a beautiful catch-22.
Hopefully it's not catch-22. I don't think they're inconsistent goals.
You'd mentioned your environmental stance, and you were known in the Annapolis City Council when you were on there as the token tree hugger, and you live that. You had mentioned that you have solar panels. You have solar panels on the roof. And that was an initiative of yours when you had purchased the business?
Yeah, so that was, actually I have a poster here, about in 2012 or so, I had solar panels installed on the roof, and they've been fantastic. Solar Energy Services installed them, and they did a great job. They met every commitment they made to me. And it really made it an easy process. The system paid for itself in about 5.5 years, which was what it was projected to do. And the system lasts for 20 to 25 years. So after that initial investment's paid back, I actually saved money. So I could justify it both environmentally.
How much, just out of curiosity, I mean, how much, I'm not looking for dollars, but I mean, what percentage or whatever of your...
15%.
15?
Yeah, 15%.
Off of your standard... Significant.
It is, absolutely.
Absolutely. I mean, you look at...
You're talking thousands of dollars over years.
All the costs in running the business. What is some of the other environmental things? And there was a great drain cleaner that was marked as some environmentally friendly one, which is admittedly is not probably my first go-to. But
well, it depends. If you got a hair problem, like a tub drain, the environmental solution is actually better than. I would recommend go to that first for its effectiveness before the chemical solutions.
Oh my gosh, yeah, no, it totally is. I put it in, and I'm man, they know what they're talking about.
Yeah.
It's, but what type of environmental stuff can you expect to get here? I mean,
so some of the obvious easy ones are things like LED light bulbs, and we have a very wide assortment of LED light bulbs. Other obvious solutions, hopefully, are organic weed control and lawn care, organic or non-chemical house cleaning solutions. And then there's some that you might not think of as automatic as environmentally friendly, like window insulation, and just keeping your energy in the house without having to crank up the air conditioning or the heat, respectively. And so there's a lot of insulating foam and products like that. We went through a list at one point, we had something like 2,000 items that I would consider environmentally friendly items out of 30,000.
Is that 30,000 items in the store?
Yeah, and that doesn't include the nuts and bolts because they don't have individual numbers.
Wow. How often do you do inventory?
We do inventory year-round, actually, so we don't shut down at any one point. We just are constantly trying to knock out a half an aisle at a time.
One of the things that, again, I appreciate here, I know when I was trying to get my lawn in shape, I used some of that tree hugger fertilizer and stuff like that you have. But the help that we got here, I mean, it was, what kind of grass you got? What's your problem? What do you have going on? And it was spot on. And that's something that you're not going to see, if you order it through Amazon, if you order it through, I don't know whether they can ship fertilizer from Amazon or not, but, and it's a lot about problem solving. I know I had a question one time where I was trying to snake a drain and how to work that. And there was somebody here that was able to tell me how to do that. And you do that. I mean, your people are really trained in that, and they're cross-trained.
I appreciate that. It's we work really hard at it, and we're not going to be perfect. We never claim to be. But when you were up here and when you came up here, you passed the break room, and I don't know if you noticed on the break room there was a training sheet. So we spend a lot of time in February where we'll have group classes for the whole store, whole staff, and we'll do a training on some Bonide garden cleaning, or we'll do Benjamin Moore paint, or we'll do a Weber training. And so we'll do staff training, especially concentrated in the winter. We'll also go off, and so myself and my store manager and one of the department managers went to a training by one of the manufacturers last week, took the whole day to do an all-day training. And we'll try to do that year-round, try to educate each other. We also have a number of people on staff who have essentially, if you will, prior lives and other experiences where they've done their own work, or they've done the work for somebody else.
It's one of the beauties of it is the customer service and the training that they're receiving there. What is the most? You've said your inventory has changed for the whims of the public, which is very difficult.
Yeah, not just the whims of the public, but just the change in technology, change in what the manufacturers are making. I mean, they'll stop making certain things like paint strippers that had a lot of bad chemicals in them, or just made differently.
And you do paint. You can mix paint. You've got Benjamin Moore.
Benjamin Moore is our featured paint. We still have True Value paint as well, which is a nice alternative. And we do a lot of training to make sure we have people who can make the paint that any customer wants. We have expanded our Benjamin Moore line each year, including this year, to have more options. We have 30,000 colors to choose from on our wall. Plus, if someone brings in a a color chip or even the name of a color from another company, we can pull those colors up as well. Yeah.
Do you have that machine there where you can, like, I can bring a curtain
scan?
in and you
Yep.
can...
We could scan something in. Helps if it's a not a fabric that has a lot of texture, but if it's a solid color like your bright yellow Towson sweatshirt, we could scan that and make you a can of paint.
What's the most unusual thing? Can you tell me what thing would surprise me or anybody that you have here?
Oh, that's a great question, but I am often pleased that I'll get this question all the time, and it starts with, I doubt you have this, but since I'm here anyway, do you have XYZ? And we typically do have whatever the XYZ, right. And that's always a good feeling that people, that we are exceeding people's expectations. Some of the fun projects that people come in with are science projects where they're trying to build a robot or something and trying to imaginatively put together a number of items together to meet their needs. Those are always fun to work on. The new homeowners are fun because, they have so many new things that they're working on that they haven't tackled before, and they're full of excitement. And that's of course fun to help those customers out.
You end up being a partner in it.
That's part of the fun of the job. It's, I think certainly for all of the managers who've been here, and they've been here a long time for most of them, our average tenure for all the full-timers, including cashiers, is 9 years. And if you took out the cashiers,
that's incredible.
Average tenure is 9 years.
When did you buy this place?
I bought it in 2007. So I've been here 15 years. Yeah, I'm now bringing up the average. I've been here for 15 years. I've owned it for slightly less than that, but I've been here since 2004, so I bring up the average now. But I have an employee who's been here for 30 years this coming December. I've got someone else 22 years this year. I've got one manager who was here for 10 years as a teenager and has been here another 10 years as an adult. He left in between. Another manager who's been here for 18 years, and my general manager's been here for 3+ years or so. So, yeah, we tend to keep people for a long time. But the point I was trying to get to, though, is the reason they stay so long, besides the fact that we treat them fairly, is they like what they do. They like being in the industry. They like solving people's problems. They come in, and people say, hey, you helped me out with that project last week, and it turned out great. Here are some pictures. And it's really... interactive. It's it's a bit of that old time feel that you kind of imagine where like people know each other, and it's not just numbers, and it's not just about making a profit. It's a fun environment to be in.
It sounds like it. I know you're also a proponent of hiring a lot of our youth.
Yes, absolutely.
As Joe Pesci was, or
Utes.
got some youths working here.
We are the first employer for a lot of people in the nearby neighborhoods. Absolutely.
I know I'd heard one time a long time ago that they said that something like 30% of today's workforce, and I don't remember when this was, had worked at McDonald's at one point.
Oh, that's interesting.
And I don't know how accurate that is.
Have you ever?
Not. No, I never did.
Neither did I. I've worked in a restaurant. I was a waiter once, but not at McDonald's.
Yeah. But, again, you sit here and you look, and I know I see some of my friends' kids that are working here, whether it be a summer job, but, before they go off to college and whatnot.
And that brings me pleasure, too. And I've had a lot of great mentors in my life, from professors to employers to just other people I've known. And I've had those stepping stones along the way, and so I try to do that for our young employees who show the interest or seeking that. Not everybody is, but I've written dozens of letters of recommendation for various former employees as it's gone on to law school and various jobs, and it's great. I mean, some of them will keep on coming back. So the one guy I have in mind for law school, first helped him for colleges, then I helped him for law schools, then I helped him for his first post-law job, and it's just nice to be able to keep track of former employees like that.
That's great. And your community involved. I mean, I'm seeing all the time the big signs on your I'll say your billboard, but up on the hill that was dug out for the building. You're always having like a ladies' night or a barbecue or some sort of a promotion. I say always. I mean, you probably do half a dozen a year or so. We
also do a lot of community support initiatives that you might not see because we're not posting them on our hill. So, just dozens of Eagle projects. Eagle Scouts come to us for projects, or churches for their auctions, or various neighborhoods and their auctions. We've loaned out our popcorn machine to Hillsmere when they're having trying to raise money for something. And so we try to help out when we can. We realize, like I said, we don't take our community for granted, our customers for granted, and we want them to think well of us. We want them to think of us at all, frankly. And so we do do as much as we can afford to do. Obviously there's always constraints, and I have a budget that I try to stick under.
And I mean, you've had some different promotions. I mean, you've had like I think they were called KB Bucks or something a while ago.
Yeah, we did the KB Cash last year. It was a pretty exciting event for us
to do that. And I know that you're very involved with the schools as far as making donations to the schools on that.
So, yeah, we've evolved how we've done that over years, but the short version is the way we did this past year is we asked customers to make a donation to their favorite local school. And they picked the school that they donated to, and we matched that donation 100%. And actually, we hit our max this year, which was a $5,000 commitment. So in total, from a customer's donations of $5,000 and our match of $5,000, we gave out $10,000 to local schools this year. And over the course of the past 10 years, it's changed in various ways, but the past 10 years total was $25,000.
That's incredible.
Yeah, I think it's helping helpful.
Where are most of your customers coming from? Are they coming from down in the Annapolis neck 21403, 21401 areas?
Yeah, so if you look at where we are on a map, you'll see that in 3 directions, within 2 miles, you hit water. And the third direction, you're at Route 50 and a couple orange boxes up there. So certainly most of our customers are in that peninsula. It does surprise me, though, when I look at we have a program called True Value Rewards that helps us keep track of loyalty customers. And when you look at the spread, it does surprise me that people do come out of the way. And perhaps they're working in Annapolis but living in Odenton or in Edgewater, or sometimes surprise me like towards Arnold in other places, which I'm obviously very pleased about. But our core certainly is out of Hillsmere and Annapolis Roads and all those other communities along the Bay Ridge Peninsula.
No, they're probably coming here because they like it here.
Hopefully, and certainly the Hunt Meadow and all the other great communities in this area of the city. Hopefully, we get Eastport and downtown customers as well. So it's really great. I really enjoy seeing the same customers or even new customers.
As it's grown, I mean, obviously we can see it's gone from Hardware House and probably a much smaller location. You've probably expanded. I mean,
it was about 5,000 square feet then.
And how many square feet do you have here?
Under 10,000, just under 10,000.
I mean, for those that haven't been in here, shame on you, but you should come in and just check it out. But I mean, you have a lot of stuff packed in a little bit of space.
We do, and my in-laws were very smart in how they built the building to go high. So rather than have all the backup inventory be in the back and taking up a lot of space, it's all out on the sales floor. So I get asked all the time, "Do you have any more of this in the back?" The answer is probably not, but I might have it above.
Right.
I might have it up.
Let me get a ladder.
Yeah. So we try to, like I said, cram in a lot of stuff here. We try to be very female friendly. We realize that in a lot of households, certainly not all, a lot of households it's the female making the decision, and we try to be a great place for men and women and old and young and different colors and whatever else be comfortable shopping here. And so we try to have a broad appeal, and I love it when I hear customers say, and I frequently, fortunately, do get to hear customers say, "This is my favorite place to shop." And you think hardware store, it's men saying that, but I love it. I get a lot of women saying that too.
There are certain things that you get little bugs up. I remember as a little kid, I loved, and they've been taken over by Staples and Office Depot, but like a stationery store. Mm-hmm. That was kind of a cool place. They had calculators and all this kind of stuff. I mean, and there's gadgets. I mean, and one of the neat things about here, and we've done some contests for you where it's like, you have. And you've messed with your signs, with the aisle number 3 is like widgets and gizmos, and
that's a local artist, Cindy
Fletcher Holden.
Yeah, exactly. We had an art show in the store a few years ago, maybe 5 years ago. Now I'm losing track of time. And as part of the art show, she organized a bunch of artists to display their work in the hardware store, and it was a lot of fun. And as part of that effort, she did those signs. And so you'd be surprised. Maybe 95 of our customers don't notice our fun signs. And then the few that do, once they see 1 or 2, they walk around the store with their eyes up and they're looking for the rest. Yeah.
But I mean, you do look around, and as you mentioned, you look up. You look and see that there's stuff up there. I know I've been yelled at for getting on ladders and getting something off of a top shelf, probably because your insurance agent's probably going to...
I do discourage that. I don't want anyone getting hurt. We actually train all of our employees on proper ladder safety, and there's right ways to do it and wrong ways,
sure.
And I don't assume customers have taken that training.
Right. What's in the future? Do you have any plans?
I've always got plans. I'm always trying to do new things. So right now I'm working on a new website to make it easier for our customers to shop us online. We've had a website for a long time that you can currently shop. I think it's the web address is store.kbtruevalue.com. And on that site, you can see all of our products that we have, but it's not the most user-friendly site, and I'm trying to improve that. I'm told from our customers that they use it not necessarily to buy, but they'll see it to see if we carry something and if we have it in stock. And we list our prices, we list our inventory count, so you can see whether we're in stock. So working on the online space, I'm working on improving delivery too. So we do free delivery now for salt deliveries and grills. But we do delivery as well, although not for free, for just about anything, whether you have mulch or just don't have time to do something. Yeah, I mean, if as long as you're willing to pay for delivery, we'll bring you that nut or knife, whatever you just said. I couldn't quite hear you. We want to make that easier. So especially like for salt deliveries, we want to make it so if you're home at night and you want to schedule a delivery for later in the week, you can go on our website, buy the salt, schedule the delivery, and have it all be nice and tidy for you. How else are we expanding? We are constantly, like I said, the Benjamin Moore paint line is really big for us, and we're expanding the number of lines that we carry, and so now we're trying to appeal not only to homeowners but contractors that are doing the painting, trying to make it as big of a category as possible. I think it's a big feature there.
And again, you've got, I'll say the basics, which may not be basic to a hardware store, but propane, huge for me. Because it might always run out as soon as I put the burger on, and I've got my can always has like half a burger on it.
I'm glad you brought up the services, because I don't think we do a great job of communicating how many services we do. So let me list a few, see if you knew that we did this.
Okay.
Your lawn soil, free pH testing of your lawn soil.
I did know that because I bought the tree hugging fertilizer.
All right. Your pool water, bring in your pool water sample, and we'll test that water for you as well.
Don't have a pool.
Didn't
know that.
We'll rekey your front door locks for you. If you need, if you have got a new lock and you want to keep it key the same as your side door or something, we can rekey that for you. Screen repair we do for you. Glass cutting and plexiglass cutting. Not just regular house key cutting, but we can also do most car keys, including the computer chip programming, to make sure that the new key works on your car, even if it's got a computer chip in there. And that includes the side cut keys too, which are, like Honda uses on some of their keys.
I mean, you're not a lawn and garden center, but you do have a huge lawn and garden selection. I mean, I know in the spring with the mulch, and obviously you've got fertilizers.
Yeah, we do live goods as well. We do plants and flowers and vegetables. Live goods has really grown for us. So garden's a huge department for us. Garden's probably our biggest, not probably, because I know the numbers. Garden is our biggest category for us. So
my dog loves your beef jerkies.
Yeah, that's really popular. That 3-foot stick. Yeah, those are popular.
I tend to like the caramels at the checkout desk.
Good, I appreciate that. Yeah. But yeah, we try to have all the traditional stuff. We have a plumbing department, we have an electrical department, automotive, and marine. But we also have a lot of fun stuff, especially like in the housewares and in our automotive sections and tools and power tools, things that you might not expect to find in a hardware store.
Which makes you pretty much invaluable in the peninsula, to be honest with you. I mean, again, the best advice I can give anybody is just to come in and sort of roam the aisles and look around and see what they have, because it is. I know my very, very first experience with K&B True Value was before you. I had just moved down here in '96, and this whole well water was something brand new to me. Mm-hmm. And I had a filter in the salt softener system that had, and of course they put this giant filter in between all this massive pipes, and I'm undoing it, and I lost my grip on it, and it fell down, and it hit the incoming pipe from the well, cracked it, and all of a sudden it's just pouring in maybe a 2-inch pipe, maybe an 1.5-inch long pipe, just pouring water in. Oh, and I'm like, oh my God, what? And I'm turning knobs in this maze of things, and nothing's turning this off. Oh my goodness. My ex-wife is sitting there going, now look what you've done, which doesn't help the situation. And I go to myself and I said, oh my God, it's just effing pumping water into my house. And then I go, wait, pump, electricity. Ran up into the garage where the plunged the house into darkness. The water stopped. I said, okay, we got the flashlight. We figured out what was going on. And I came up to KB True Value, and I bought a couple little plumbing, fixtures and sleeves and the glue. And I got it back on, and I was so proud of myself. And I'd say, okay, well, put the power back on. And then all of a sudden, the water started flowing out of every one of the valves that I had opened, trying to shut it off the first time. It flooded it again. And then, my patch job had a little bit of a spring leak, which we ended up clean. But that was my very first experience at K&B True Value, just because I was like, I don't have the time to run all the way up to Parole to someplace else.
Well, hopefully we were able to give you good advice and help. Plumbing projects are always interesting. Typically, if you can do it less than 3 trips, you're doing pretty well for the most part doing a plumbing project. I encourage people to overbuy on those initial trips because you don't remembering precisely, is it an inch or inch and a half, and the different types of fittings. There's a lot of options, so just buy whatever you might need and come back when you're done. We are trying to make it super easy to do returns here, and so return what you don't need, what didn't work out, and save yourself some hassle.
Right. No hassle returns?
As much as possible. Obviously it can't, I try to keep out for theft, and we have some policies in place to try to minimize, theft or fraud, but aside from that, we try to be as easy as possible.
Yeah, I've used this lawnmower for a year and a half. It's just not doing the job.
Yeah, forgot to put oil in it, didn't you?
Details.
Yeah.
Well, Jared Littmann from K&B True Value, thank you for your time. What's the best way to get in touch with you or to find out more about K&B?
So certainly welcome customers or anybody who's interested to talk with us about anything or to check us out to come by the store. The address again is 912 Forest Drive. We're next to a Shell station across from the Hillsmere community and near the Quiet Waters Park. And you're always welcome to reach me by email. That's Jared, Jared, at K as in kite, B as in boy, truevalue.com. By phone, 410-268-3939. You can find us on Facebook and Twitter as well.
And lots of free parking.
Yes, absolutely. Free parking in the front, and if the insider tip is park in the back if it's busy in the front.
And get your exercise and walk up the steps.
Yep, and we'll if you're carrying heavy things, we'll be happy to carry it out to you.
I'll tell you, congratulations on a great run. Congratulations on what the future may hold for you. And
thank you.
Thank you very much for your time.
I appreciate it. It's been a great 15 years for me, and really so pleased that our community has supported us for 45 years. I hope there's another 45 years ahead.
Thanks for listening to this special podcast for Ion Annapolis. Please be sure to visit ionannapolis.net for all your local news, events, and opinions. And in case you haven't already, please subscribe to the Ion Annapolis Daily News Brief, where we bring you your local news direct to your phone or tablet every Monday through Friday at 7 a.m. Subscribe on iTunes or Google Play.